Last episode, we finally unlocked the Nether and started work on a Venice-inspired base. So today, we will continue that base by building a home for both me and a new pet to bring us one step closer to the next age. Because in this world, I intentionally limit my progression. With each episode in this series, I'll unlock more materials, transportation, and quests until I fully experience every part of Minecraft's core game. All right, I think we're gonna start today with a little bit of exploring. Ooh, okay. Perfect, this is what we're looking for. Right there. Oh, and there. I thought that they were gonna be super rare. I didn't realize I would find them like immediately. But yes, this is why we've come out here in search of a new friend. In fact, I was able to find 4 new friends and I took them all home to rehydrate. I don't really have a specific spot I want to put this. Maybe we'll just put them over here. And then I think I'm just gonna do one of these for now because I don't want to have to deal with a couple flying around, so. All right, and that will have to simmer for a little bit. And while the new ghastling was soaking, I decided to pass the time by getting snow for a golem, so I'd have as many snowballs as I need to grow him up. But I still had some more time after that, so I decided to go ahead and craft the harness. Okay, so we just need 3 leather, 2 glass, and wool. And of course we're gonna make it pink. And perfect. And with that taken care of, I was now fully ready for whenever he grew up. How much longer this guy's got? I feel like we put him in there a while ago. Awesome. Okay, so he is done hydrating, I guess, now. So I feel bad for what I'm about to do next here. Now, knowing the lore of ghasts, this does feel kind of cruel to take him right back. But don't worry, this world made sure I felt even worse about bringing a happy ghast to the Nether. Oops. Ooh, that scared me. You don't pathfind into lava, right? Oh, hold on. Is he gonna die? No, come on. He almost immediately died. Well, my bad on that one, buddy. Did not mean to almost kill you. But despite that small hiccup, I now had a new method of transportation and a fresh perspective on my build. You know, last episode I talked about how I'll never really see this build from this angle. Like 99% of the time, I will only ever see it from this angle where I won't be able to see the rest of the roof. But I'm realizing now I definitely will. The first thing that I wanted to use this new ghast vantage point for was to fix something that I had missed from last episode. And you guys were definitely not shy to let me know about it. Now, if you didn't catch it, this corner is not supposed to look like that. I missed a couple bone blocks here. Perfect. And I had also not added the spawn proofing button to the bottom row of windows, but this new ghast made that super easy. The gold farm was now just an interior away from being completed, meaning we are almost done with the first of the 7 builds I have planned. Now, I know that number sounds daunting, but I just want to make sure that our base includes any important nether mechanics or resources that I need, while also checking off our potion mastery goal. I'll go into the specifics for each build as we go, but for today, it's about time I set up a proper base of operations and move out from my temporary hut. I also want a place to park the ghast that doesn't involve squeezing through this door right over the lava. So I think a great build to focus on would be a nether home. So I think the very first thing that I want to build of this house is the foundation. And to do that, I want to make sure that I have a good sized canal here. So we could potentially do a 7 block, which seems about right, honestly. Let's see what 9 looks like. See, that's not terrible either. I think I like 7 the most though. The toughest thing about starting builds like this is just trying to make a plan for where everything is gonna line up. For this build, I need to think about how wide the canals are gonna be, where the bridges are gonna go, or sightlines that I want the house to be visible from. But because of that, it is easy to get bogged down just trying to keep track of everything. Yeah, honestly, I'm doing too much thinking. I think I just need to pop one of these potions and get down there. So I've made this platform rectangular, and I think what I want to do though is make my house centered on a square on this side so that the middle of it lines up with this canal, and you have a nice view if you're walking down this canal of the front of my house. And I'm referring to this direction as a canal because one of the builds I have in mind is some kind of piglin bartering bank that I would picture going along that back side. But that's for a later me to figure out. That's my one worry really, I think, with building things so close together is you can't really step back and get a great view of things because you're always just so squished together. Like it's tough to find a spot to like look at things. But yeah, I think if I center it right here, then I'll have a good view coming down this canal. So let's do that. So with a better picture of how my house is gonna be situated, I started by filling in the floor. So I didn't have to worry about dropping any blocks or myself in lava. Okay, yeah. I think I like that. Now, when it comes to building this house, there were several key purposes I had in mind for it. Firstly, it was gonna be a place to hold all my junk for building this city, and to replace that temporary hut. But to replace that hut as a safe room, and to not ruin the rates of my farm, it also needs to be spawn-proofed, which is easier said than done in the Nether. And finally, I also wanted to include a ghast hanger, to make it super easy to both park and fly a ghast. And because I want the ability to use that ghast while building it, I figured that the ghast landing bay would be a good place to start the build. So my plan for this, the ghast dock, is I want to use minecarts. So I want to go in through like an open hole in the top and kind of like descend the ghast into that, and then dispense a minecart out that picks up the ghast while I'm still on it. And so when I get off, the ghast is trapped in the minecart. And then what I can do is whenever I'm ready to leave, then I can get back on the ghast. Then I'll have some way of sending it off on a minecart that hits an activator rail right around here and kind of like launches it almost out. I don't know, I would assume it probably doesn't actually maintain the speed from the minecart, but that's kind of like what I'm picturing. And if that didn't make much sense, it should be clearer as it comes together. But the first step was just to get some blocks down so I have a starting point. And I'll make everything look nice, as always, at a later time. We just gotta get it working right now. And if we put a minecart in here, let's see if it... Oh yeah, that works perfect. So yeah, when a ghast comes down here, then the minecart will be sent out and hopefully pick it up. And before I get too much further, I did want to make sure that this idea was gonna work, so I decided to give it a test run. Okay. So let's see, we line them up with the corner. Oh, yep. Oh. Wait, did that just work? Okay, aside from me being stuck on him. Can I get off? What's happening? Okay, so I'll have to figure out a solution for that. But yeah, if we... Oh, that hurt him. Yeah, I think that design has a lot of promise. Nice, okay. So at this point, the main parts of parking it and launching it work. But I still had a couple details that I needed to sort out. I want to make sure that the cart is returned to the dispenser automatically so I don't have to manually move anything. I also want to make sure that I'll be able to launch the ghast while I'm riding on top of it, and I don't have to like hit the lever and try and catch it. And then finally, I'll have to figure out a better way of dismounting it so I don't have that weird, slow, buggy walk. So I decided to start by tackling the cart return. I want to see if I can make the cart go off the edge and then get caught on a track below it. So yeah, let's see if a cart would land on that. Send it on its way. Oh, okay. I wonder then what if instead we make this a little bit taller? Yeah, okay. That's fine. I guess the design then of it dropping down and going back under probably isn't gonna work, and I'm okay with that. If it was gonna need to be that bulky, I don't think I'd wanna do that anyway. So my other thought then is that pretty simply, we'd maybe just have it turn back around. Something like that. And then to get the minecart back into the dispenser, I just used the classic cactus method. Okay, I think we can consider the minecart return done and functional. Like, that's working. The next big task I want to move on to is how I'm gonna release the ghast. Because the issue we have right now is when I get back on the ghast up here, I want to be able to send it off, but right now I would need to hit that lever to send it off. And the reason this is a problem at all is because in this stage, the only redstone that I have access to is what I've looted. Meaning I can't just simply run a redstone line down to it and connect it with a button. Oh, I don't have target blocks. I could have done maybe some kind of air. Well, I guess that's the other thing is I can't really like shoot through the ghast. Okay, what about this? What if we did a pressure plate and dropped like an armor stand or some kind of item on it? And the ghast has a hitbox. So I think any item or anything that would set off a pressure plate can't go through the ghast. So I would need to make sure it's far enough away. And I think that this rail, if I power this one, that should be away from the ghast. I'll just need to like move it out a little bit, I think. Yeah, maybe we can make this corner the pressure plate right there. And then I have managed to loot 2 repeaters from the jungle temple. So I think I'm gonna use that. So yeah, when I'm up here, I could toss in an item or like, oh, you know what I could, wait. That's not how you craft it. We'll use a fishing rod because the issue with like an item or like dropping an armor stand or something like that onto the pressure plate is that it will stay there. And so that will stay powered until the item despawns or like I break the armor stand or something, which adds a whole nother element of having to use hoppers to grab the item or like return it. I think it might just be easier if this works. Oh, that's perfect. Wait, okay, I just want to try this immediately. Let me put this back in the dispenser and I want to try this thing. Okay, that's off. Activator rail's on. I put the minecart in there. Okay, I think we're good. Let me try landing it in here. We line it up with this corner. Okay, then we sink it in here. See if I can throw this in here without hitting the ghast. Oh, that's amazing. Look at that. And then the minecart's back in the system. Dude, I know there's probably easier ways to park a ghast, but this is cool. It would be even cooler though if somehow the ghast kept the speed of the minecart as it went off there and it like shot it out. But hey, maybe in the minecart update they will. Now that the minecart return and release system were working, all I had left to figure out was a solution for that weird dismounting bug. Oh man, I don't know. Am I gonna have to like have a boat off to the side that I get into? Oh, I can walk on it afterwards. So after it's kicked me off, then I can walk on it just fine. Yeah, I think as long as I put a boat or something off to the side, that's like how I dismount, I think that would solve this issue. And while it's not the prettiest solution, it definitely works. Okay, yeah, we got that problem again. And then I can just hop off it like that. And I realized later on that I didn't even have to stand first. I could just spin the ghast to get directly in the boat. Well, yeah, I think that is all 3 of the problems worked out now, and we have a functional ghast parking. Oh, we got a hoglin down here. Oh. Surely he can't make it over, right? Oh, he can't make it over. I wasn't ready for that. Anyway, now that my ghast landing bay was done, I could move on to building the actual house around it. One of my issues that I have when building that I'm trying to get over is whenever I go to build a new part to something, like if I'm building my house and I'm adding a new wing to it, for whatever reason, I feel like I have to make that new wing like completely original, like use either a new block palette or a new design style or something. Otherwise, it's not going to be interesting, which just isn't true. And the reason I bring that up now is because I was trying to figure out what to do for the base of this. And I was like, I can't do diorite again because I just did a bunch of diorite. But I think that's actually the right answer here. I think this should be more diorite because I think making that out of diorite would make it look like it belongs in the city. So now that I had a direction in mind for the block palette, I decided to start the build by working on the front door. So one thing I will have to think about the whole time while building is I need to make sure that blocks aren't flammable or within reach of lava aren't flammable and not spawnable. So blocks need to be not flammable and not spawnable. Whoa. Okay, really? Just go around it. Yeah, no, I like that. It feels very fancy, which I think is gonna be kind of the style I'm going with here. Oh man, okay, I'd wanted to do walls like this, but I don't think I can. I was trying to use wall blocks to make this front detail pop out from the build, and I also wanted to double up the walls so that I could have a different color inside the house. But when you put blocks behind walls, they attach to them and make these ridges. So I had to rethink how I was gonna do that. You know, I guess this could come out. I could bring this whole thing out a block. Yep, still looks all right. I guess I could do quartz. Ooh. 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 You can't climb, right? Ooh, that's a bit dangerous. Okay, I gotta figure out where this Crimson Forest is. Between the piglins and the hoglins, these spawns were starting to get annoying. For now though, I just needed to make sure to block all the Crimson Forest spawn points so one of those hoglins wouldn't knock me into the lava. Okay, that should be all the Crimson Forest now taken care of. I think it was just these like 6 or 7 spots. While I knew the block palette I was going for, it still took a lot of trial and error to figure out the shape and spacing that I wanted. Okay, I'm feeling a little stuck right now. I mean, it's going in the right direction. I'm trying to visualize how this opening is gonna look at the top though, because I just don't know. Okay, I think that this has to go away. I don't think I'm liking the direction of that, but I really love these windows, so I'll make sure it's the same on this side. And then I think I just wanna raise this up to about that height. I'm not exactly sure, but I think that's kind of what I wanna do. Can you not? Please. Please stop breaking my door. Okay, so I usually try to avoid doing signs on the outside of builds because they have like a certain render distance that you could see them from, but I think this might just be perfect. Yeah, I think I like it. I don't know, I don't know exactly what to put in this space, but I think I like that. You know what'd be great is like a skeleton head in the middle. Or just some kind of mob head, but a skeleton's white, so that would make sense there. I mean, I do have some charged creepers. Maybe, I'll come back to it. But before we get on to the next section of this, I think I'm ready to go ahead and just throw a floor down in there. I'm very tired of dealing with these pigmen. Oh man, it is much more peaceful though, not having that many pigmen around. And with the floor in place, I decided my next task would be to stack up the other 3 walls to that same height. All right, so that's the first layer of it done. Now I gotta figure out the terracotta section of it. And I think these 3 colors are kind of the ones I'm considering the most. And I gotta say, after stepping back and looking at them, it seems like a no-brainer. I think this one is definitely gonna be the best color to go with. But before I got to work on that, I had a bit of a realization. Earlier I was talking about putting a skeleton skull there, but I just realized, maybe I can just put a dried ghast there. Does that, wait, hold on, how does that look? Yeah, I think, you know, it's not bad. And it does fit with the fact that this building houses my ghast too. But from there, I started figuring out the top part of the build, both with the terracotta portion and how I was gonna tie the ghast launcher into the front. That circle looks fine. If that does fit the ghast, I'll have to make sure it does. Oh, although it is like pretty much the exact size that... I think it is the exact size of the ghast. Well, let's see if this works. All right, open that up, anchors away. Okay, I can definitely exit it. It did hurt. I mean, it was just a heart of damage, but I think I'd still like to make a little cutout for myself. But yeah, I think I'm okay with that. All right, nice. Yeah, no, that works pretty well. Now I just gotta figure out how to work this circle into the rest of the build. Oh, you know what? I was gonna try and figure out how I could scaffold up there to work on it, but I just realized. All right, so what I was thinking is what if we, oops, see, I totally forget how this thing works. I could just stand on top of it. Oh. Okay, well that's not ideal. I guess I'll have to figure out how the happy gas works. Ooh. I guess that's another reason to have a fishing pole. And after that, I decided to do my building seated, or at least very carefully standing. I'm wondering if this is gonna be the direction I should take it. Oh, you know what's kind of nice about this? Wait a second, this almost looks like a ghast. See this shape here? It looks like these little like support things could be tentacles, and I think we could kind of play into that. The feel of this build, I feel like, has transformed pretty quickly. Honestly, I didn't know how that was gonna look, if the ghast was gonna be a little too tacky, but I think I'm actually a pretty big fan of that. That's fun. All right, this building is starting to get pretty tall, so I think I'm gonna go grab some boots with feather falling so I can be a little bit safer up there. Last episode, I suffered a pretty unfortunate loss in my armor, but between some other armor I had lying around, as well as a little bit of exploring I did on stream, I managed to put together another pair of boots. Now, it's not Frostwalker like it used to be, and I don't have quite enough levels right now to get it up to Depth Strider 3, but this should add some extra protection in the Nether. And these are Mending Unbreaking 3 now, so they should last a bit longer. So with my new feather falling protection, I felt a lot more comfortable and continued to build up the top. Oh, See, that's why I got the feather falling boots. All right, let's check it out. Yeah, I'm liking that. But as I continued to build, I closed in the ghast port more than I had realized and ended up running into some problems. Okay. Gotcha, good to know. Okay. And then when I tried to fix it, well, oh, no. That's such a pain. I think everything should be fine, unless one of them has picked up a piece of armor. If that's happened, this is gonna be slightly more difficult. Okay. I don't think any... Oh, is he wearing my... He might be wearing my... He is. Okay. Hold on then. And luckily, no zombie piglins had picked up anything, so it was a pretty easy cleanup. But I still had to figure out how to fix the issue I was having with the ghast launcher. And I decided to start with the activator rail, because part of the issue was that it was ejecting the ghast to the side of the rail instead of directly above it, which caused it to not line up with the hole. I mean, it's not as satisfying not having the rail right in the middle, but if it'll kick it off on that block instead, that might be better. Okay, definitely still hurts a little bit, but it does put him off in the middle now, I think, which is very important. And after adjusting a few more blocks, it was good to go. Yeah, look at that. So much smoother. I don't take damage, that ghast doesn't take damage, that's perfect. And now that I had collected my items and fixed the issue, I had a new gravestone I had to build. All right, I think I'll make this gravestone pretty similar to the zombie one here if I can. Maybe we'll just try and do this one, but like with a pig nose or something on it. Of course. Yeah, honestly, I just feel like this is as close as I'm gonna be able to get at this scale. Oh, you know what? Maybe the ears are worth doing. Maybe that makes it look a little bit more like a piglin. But I think that's probably about as close to a piglin as I'm gonna be able to get at this scale. I mean, we got the tusks, we got the nose sticking out, we got like the half skull, the ears. Yeah, I mean, that's probably about as close as I can get for this one. All right. Now I can get back to where I left off and start figuring out the top of this build. I think that'll work pretty perfect. Yeah, I'm good with that. And don't worry, I caught this one early. My goal for the top floor was to make the room big enough that I would be able to comfortably fly the ghast around inside. And I also decided that I would decorate it to resemble the overworld so that I wouldn't feel as bad about bringing the ghast back to the Nether. All right, awesome. Well, I believe this place should be fully boxed in now. All right, looks good. Quit getting away from me. Oh, I'm sorry, buddy. Dang, my happy ghast took some damage there. It's funny, it feels like a little dollhouse or something. Well, now we can finally move out from the gold farm and finish up the interior in here. Now for the interior, I started by planning it out first with some netherrack and cobblestone. That way I'd be able to get a feel for the layout before I committed to building the walls. Now I usually wouldn't bother with something like that, but I wanted to make the walls striped and doubled up so that different rooms could be different colors. So it was worth taking the extra time to plan because it would have been a pain to have to move them later. Now in my mind, these stripes were gonna look a lot more elegant than they ended up being. I was still okay with how it looked, but it definitely feels even more like a dollhouse now. Now most of the building went pretty smoothly, but I kept running into the same issue, where all the blocks that were underneath either trapdoors or doors were spawnable. The trapdoors were easier to fix because they didn't have to be on a solid block, so I could use things like other trapdoors or stairs. But for the doors, since they did have to be on solid blocks, my only option was nether wart, because for some reason those can't spawn piglin or zombie piglin. So maybe there's some kind of lore in my world that it's good luck to put nether wart at the threshold, because otherwise it just doesn't really match, but it was a necessary sacrifice to make the build spawn proofed. Either way, I now had an interior. All right, well, I believe that is this house pretty much finished up. Let me give you a quick tour of what I've done. You come into the house and you have this big entrance, and then over in this room, this is like the exit out to like a patio area here. And then this way, I don't really know what this room is going to be. It's just kind of a room, I guess, for now. If you come through here, here's kind of the grand main room. So this will be kind of the main crafting and storage area, which is also why I put it right by the front door here, so it's quick and easy to get over here. And then I also did run a chimney up the back of the build. But yeah, if you come through here and we go up the stairs, we have a little staircase room here. And then this is going to be like, I guess, my bedroom. Now, of course, we don't have beds in the Nether, so instead this is going to be my respawn anchor room, and I guess we can just toss that right here. It's funny, I have my whole bedroom and then just this in the middle. Oh, that sounds cool. And there we go. Now we will make sure to respawn in here. Yeah, so we got our respawn anchor here, and then up these stairs we have our empty floor. Yeah, there's a lot of empty space kind of in the build, which I'm fine with because I have more space than I know what to do with anyway. And it also allowed me to have like these doubled walls where I can have different colored walls in each room. But I do have an empty floor here. And then finally, up at the top, we have our ghast room, which I have decorated to look like the overworld so that our ghast feels a little less sad about being stuck here. Looking back at this room though, I did know it could be a little bit better, so I decided to go back and make some changes. I added a river so that the boat makes a little more sense, as well as some overworld paintings and some clouds. And I think those small touches ended up making the room a lot better. But yeah, that is the entirety of the house here. I mean, overall, I'm super excited with how the outside of it turned out. The interior, I definitely had to make some sacrifices in terms of like the windows and making things spawn proof, but overall, I think I'm pretty happy with how this build has come out. So I think I'd like to go ahead and make the little bridge to go over here and then move this hut out. And we can finally have a nice flat floor in here and be fully moved into the ghast base. So I started by designing a small bridge, then of course redesigning it. But with that in place, it made it a lot safer moving over the chests and chests of items I had. It's definitely worth noting that my new chest room isn't a ton of space. The main reason for that was the fact that it was built into the underside of the stairs. But really, I shouldn't need a whole lot of nether storage anyway, as I don't want to keep the bulk items here. I only plan on storing stuff that I need for building the city, along with just general nether gear. All right, well, this hut is now fully emptied out. I just gotta fill it in and close up the floor. So I think we are good. And just like that, the hut is gone. Very nice. Now this building is ready for an interior and also some kind of storage solution for all of this rotten flesh. But that will have to come another time, as we've already done so much in this episode, between finding our gasling, designing a landing bay, and then building an entire nether home around it. Thank you as always for watching to the end, and join me next time as we continue our nether base.